So today we're gonna actually take some time looking at some real world use cases that we've implemented with our Profound AI product. Generative AI is here now. Um, it seems like yesterday we were talking about AI as this thing that's going to be in the future and it's going to revolutionize IT. It's going to make the world, different than it was before. But the reality is, it's not the future anymore. It absolutely is right now. It's growing up really fast right before our eyes. So just to give you an idea here, ChatGPT, we've all heard of that at this point, launched back in December of 2022 and had 1 million users within the first 5 days. By February of 2023, it passed 100 million users. And as of this month, there are currently 180.5 million users. But what's interesting to me is, yes, there are 185 million accounts on ChatGPT, but what I think is more meaningful is that 100 million of those user accounts are active every week. So it's not just necessarily people that tried it once and then just left it behind. Of those 180 million users, well over half of them are using ChatGPT every single week. The AI market is expected to start out around 86.9 billion with a B in 2022 and is projected to hit 407 billion by 2027. So in the next 3 years, this is going to be an even larger market. And honestly, if you're not looking into AI now, you're being left behind because your competitors absolutely are. So the real question is, are you ready? What have you thought about how AI can help your business? I mean, you should absolutely be experimenting with it right now. And you should be brainstorming and coming up with new ideas on how AI can make your company more competitive, more efficient, and that is going to take practice. And if you aren't experimenting right now, you're not getting that practice and you're falling even further behind. The next question that customers are asking right now are, how are we going to acquire the skills we need to integrate AI into our applications, right? Sure, anyone can go to a ChatGPT window and start playing with it, but how are we going to bring this into our applications, into our workflows? How are we going to make this part of the way we do business? And for most IBMI shops, they like to turn to partners who have the expertise that they don't necessarily have in-house. Profound Logic, obviously, we are very committed to AI and other emerging technologies, and we're always here for guidance and assistance in implementing those things, which is exactly why we built the Profound AI product that we'll be taking a look at in a minute. And then also, are you building your strategy yet? You won't be putting AI across all of your business applications today, but you should absolutely be building your plan. And at the pace that this is growing, we're seeing mainstream implementations of AI features today. Lots of your software out there is already implementing AI features, things that cloud-based SaaS services that you're using now. I mean, even Windows has Copilot now that is available for using generative AI within the operating system. So you absolutely need to be building a plan, and that is something that we are here to help you do. So enough of the talk about generative AI and all of the things that it is becoming, because unless you're just completely have your head in the sand, if you're in IT, you're talking about AI, you're learning about AI, and you're trying to figure out where AI fits into your business and your strategy. So, but let's take some time to actually look at what we're doing at Profound Logic. what we are doing with the Profound AI product and how we are making it easy for companies of all sizes to be able to utilize generative AI and get real business value out of them. So we're going to take a look at 4 different use cases during today's call, and we're going to break them down into different categories and do some live demo, and hopefully you'll see some ideas that you can apply in your business, or we'll just give you some ideas of some things to plan for the future. So with that, our first use case, and this is probably where most customers like to start, and that is document summarization. So lots of companies have BI tools to help them reach their data in their databases, although AI can be useful for that, and we'll see that later. But you know, they also have a lot of knowledge and a lot of data that is held in unstructured documents. And AI can be extremely useful in getting all of that unstructured data under control and being able to answer questions and give insights about that information. So for our example here, we're actually going to take a look at an agent that is designed to help with HR questions. So we're going to use it. We're going to have an agent that's going to index some documents and be able to give us different answers based on information that's in the employee handbook for Profound Logic, actually. But we could expand this beyond that. You could include things like, your medical benefits documents or policies and procedures. You can have as many documents within an agent like this as you'd like, and then that AI agent can, of course, pull insights out of all of those source documents in order to answer complex questions. So with that, I am going to switch over to my Profound AI environment, and we'll start by going through how to set up a new agent, and then I'll pull up the demo agent, and we'll talk through how it was built and see it actually in action. All right, so here we are in our IDE. The Profound AI product is, of course, built on top of our Profound.js technology. So it uses the same IDE that our Profound AI and Profound API solutions use. But if I wanted to start a brand new agent, all I would need to do is come up to New and AI Agent. So an agent is just an interface to a large language model. We support multiple large language models. As you can see here in my demo environment, I have quite a few of them configured. GPT, obviously, we work with the OpenAI models as well, whether they're running through OpenAI or even through Azure. We can get into some of the other models, things like Mistral, even Gemini, Llama. We're working with Anthropic to get Claude support all ironed out, as well as IBM Watson X, all of the environments that you may want to run into, whether they are commercial options or even if you're looking at open source options that you want to either run in the cloud or maybe even run on premises if you have the hardware to do so. The idea here is that Profound AI is a completely model agnostic system. It can use whatever large language models that you would like to use for your agents. So I'm in the development environment here. You can see I actually have a chat window that's right here in the middle. It doesn't do anything right now, but as soon as I choose a model, this actually becomes live. I can actually come in and say hello. And as you can see here, it's going to interface back with the large language model, in this case, GPT-4 Turbo running through OpenAI. And I can start having a conversation with it. Setting up getting started with an agent really is that simple. And we'll get into all the different ways that we can make this agent more powerful as we go through the demos. So let's start with our document summarization example. So here we have, I've pre-configured to save time. We have an agent here that I'm calling HR agent. It's using GPT-4 Turbo, and we have a tab here called guidance. Now, the guidance tab when any agent that we're building in Profound AI is how we control the prompt. So here we describe what this agent should and shouldn't be able to do. So you can see here, you are assisting users with human resource questions. Use the functions and knowledge documents provided to respond appropriately. You will not answer any questions that do not pertain to the employee handbook. You will apologize for not being allowed to answer general questions and ask the user needs any further help. So the idea behind a prompt in this environment is that as an IT department, you're controlling the prompt. You are creating the agent and defining what it can and can't do. You're going to be able to control what it has access to and what types of questions that it's allowed to answer. Even the personality it should take on when it is responding to a request from a user. So in a really simple paragraph here, I was able to describe, all right, you're going to help with human resources questions, and we're going to provide you with an employee handbook. Now, down below, we have a section for knowledge documents. This is where we can add those documents that contain the information that we'd like to be able to use within an agent. As you can see here, I've already added the employee handbook, but I can remove it. And we'll go in and we'll add it again. So I add, and I can choose my employee handbook and have that added to this agent. I then hit the sync button, and what that does is it actually creates a vector database on top of all the documents that we have for this agent. Then that is how AI can look for information using context. So it's not looking necessarily for specific words or phrases when we ask a question. It's actually using a vector index to find things that are related to what was asked, not necessarily exactly what was asked. And that's how AI is able to give, more insightful answers to questions. So that's it for setting up this agent. This agent is now ready to deploy. If we were to deploy it, we'd go under launch and choose deploy this agent, and it would actually give me a little bit of JavaScript code that I could plug into my user interface to add this agent to whatever web-based application I want to. But we can also interact with it right here within the development environment, which is what we're going to do. So with that, I have my handbook, I have my prompt built, I'm using my model. I'm just going to go in and ask some general questions that you might ask an HR person. So I can ask questions like, what holidays do employees get? And it will go and find the information within my document and come back and give me an answer on the holidays that we get here at Profound Logic. And this is, again, our real employee handbook and our PDF document. And it's extracting the information out of that PDF and giving me answers. So that was kind of just a straight question that actually has a full section, with the exact answer within the document. But what if I asked it to, give me a little more? So if I were to ask it a question like, as an employee of 13 years, how many days of vacation do I get? So it will go out, it'll find the information about that. And as you can see, it's actually going to add it all up for me because we have different tiers. After 1 year, you have, a week. After 3 years, you have another amount of time. After 5 years, you get 3 weeks. And then after 5 years, you get, another day of vacation for every so many years. And it didn't just give me, that section of the document. It took those rules in and actually calculated it for me. So it says at 13 years, entitled to 3 weeks, which is what you get at 5 years here and then plus 4 years of service after the 5th year. Given your tenure, this means that you earn 2 additional days, one for the 9th year and one for the 13th year, making your total vacation entitlement 3 weeks and 2 days. And it gives me a citation of where it found the information to get this to come up with this answer within the PDF. So again, I could upload lots of different kinds of documents in here and have one central portal where instead of having to search documents and decide what document my answer is in, I could just come here and ask questions just like I would ask an HR employee. And based on the information contained in these documents, it could turn around and give me meaningful answers. Another thing I like to play with here. Again, this is our employee handbook. It's entirely in English. But what if English isn't my native language? And I came to the AI agent here, and I asked a question in Spanish. I asked about holidays in Spanish. Actually, the model is smart enough to recognize that that's Spanish and answer my question in Spanish, which is cool in and of itself. But what is really cool is that not only did it answer me in Spanish, it pulled the information from an English document. So it's actually smart enough that it can take my question in Spanish, still be able to get the context that it needs to search for that within a document in English, and then once it has that information, be able to respond back to me in Spanish as well. So again, really cool. And as you can see, setting this up from scratch, although I didn't do it live here in the webinar, setting this up from scratch can be done in 20 minutes. If I already have my documents in place, it's just a matter of choosing my model and then creating a prompt that describes what I want this agent to do with the data that it's been provided. And since I can interact with it here in my development environment, I can, if I don't like the results I'm getting, I can just come over here to the guidance tab and tweak my prompt a little bit and ask the question again until I'm getting the results that I expect. And once I have them, I can save it and be ready to deploy it to my production environment. So again, really powerful and not a lot of effort in order to get some, what I think can provide some real value. You know, our example is for HR, but this could be for anything. I've got customers that I'm talking to in all types of fields that have different information that's stored in documents that they'd like to be able to use to get answers to questions, whether those are you know, internal policies that need to be abided by, or you know, even laws, you know, even you know, state or federal law that needs to be followed when interacting with a customer or when doing a job. That type of information can all be fed into an agent so that it can make recommendations that also take those policies or regulations into account. So I've got a lot of customers that are excited about nothing else but this. And again, because it's so easy to do, this is where a lot of customers start with their first project for something that they can get a quick win and get some real value out of without a ton of effort. So moving on, let's talk about another use case that I find is really useful. I have a lot of customers that are really excited about automated assistants. So AI agents that can help with a common problem that's taking up a lot of time for the IT staff. The first thing that comes to mind for a lot of customers is the help desk. And so a help desk agent can be built that can, you know, index, you know, application documentation or the company's standard operating procedures, so that if a user asks a question about, you know, their business applications, the assistant can actually make recommendations and tell them you should go to this screen to, you know, to make a change to the data you're inquiring about, or even go so far as, since you can put in procedures, As well, it could tell them not only this is the screen where you should find that information, but also as a matter of business policy, before changing this information, you should notify this someone in this department and describe exactly the process that needs to be done, which it can be really powerful, especially when you're talking about new employees and being able to um, reduce that training curve, right? To make them more efficient and more self-sufficient um, as they're getting to know the company and how things work. Um, but the big one is the middle bullet point right there. I have so many customers that are looking to build an agent and are excited about building agents to handle password resets. Their help desks are overwhelmed with constant requests for people that have disabled their profiles or forgot their password, and they need to be able to get that fixed so that they can do their work. Um, in some cases, some customers are spending hours, um, dozens of hours, just dealing with this type of request. So, as a demo, we went ahead and built an example of how this could be done with an agent. So if I switch back over to my Profound AI environment, I'll show you how that works. It's actually super simple, which is great. So here we have my prompt, my guidance, and I'm just giving it some basic instructions. So you're assisting an enterprise application user with disabled user profiles and password resets. If a user needs to reset their password, you'll ask for their user profile. Once they provide it, you will ask what you would like their new password to be. And once you have that information, you'll use the provided function, we'll look at it in a moment, to send a verification code and ask the user to provide the 6-character code that was emailed to them. So I don't want just anyone to come in and reset a password. I need to verify that they are who they say they are. So in this example, we're using email. Once you have the code, use the provided function to validate the code and update the user's profile. So that's the prompt. And so I've also provided 2 routines. So if we take a look at those, you can see here I have one called verify user identity. So the idea in Profound AI is that we can use the Profound.js low-code system to build routines that will give an AI agent capabilities. In this case, we have one step to verify a user. So as you can see here, I have a step that is generating a random code and then storing that in a database. So I just have a low-code step here to take that information and drop it into a database I have on my system. And then to get the email address that's associated with that profile and send an email to that user. And then here, if all of this was successful, then we set our output parameter to success. Otherwise, we set it to failure. So that's the steps that we need to do. We also have an interface here with input parameters and output parameters for this routine. So we're accepting the user ID as an input parameter because that's all we need. And then our output parameter is just saying whether or not we were successful. What's important here is that we have good descriptions and on everything. So you'll notice user ID is the input parameter, but I have a description that says this is the user profile that should be verified. The reason the descriptions are important is because not only the parameters themselves, but the descriptions and the types of the parameters are passed into the AI so that to help it to understand what is expected and when to use these routines. The same is true of the actual routine description here. This routine is used to verify the identity of a user via email based on their user profile name. So obviously, when I need to reset a profile, this is the first routine that gets called and it sends out that email. Once I receive that email and provide the code, then this routine gets called, this update user profile routine. You can see it takes in a verification code, a user ID, and the new password, and then again sends a success or failure parameter here, as well as if it was a failure, it sends an error message to let you know what happened. So we have the agent. The agent has been instructed on what to do. We have these two routines that give it the functionality to be able to do what needs to be done. So, the update user profile, you can see here, get record. So it's retrieving that random code from the database, validating it. And if it's valid, you can see here that we can actually run an IBMI command. So since this agent is for resetting passwords on my IBMI, and we can actually come in and just use the change user profile command from the operating system to actually enable this profile and reset its password. No special programming there. I just have a step that needs to run a command, and I specify that command with the variables. All right, so let's see this thing in action. So if I come back to my agent, as I mentioned before, we can work with this within the IDE itself. So I can come in and just say, help, I can't sign in. And our agent will come to our rescue. Can you please provide me with the user profile name? Sure, B May. And just to prove that this is really working, let's go in. I have a sign-on session here, and we'll use my B May profile, and I'll pop in a password. User profile B May cannot sign in. Okay, so we are locked out right now. So my username is B May. Great. And what would I like my password to be? We'll just keep it really simple right now, and we'll say my password is going to be profound. And the agent will actually, as you can see, it called my routine to verify my identity, which means I should be getting an email any moment on my other screen. So that should be, once that arrives, I can grab the code out of that email, and I will be able to reset my password. So there it is. I'll just copy and paste. And all right, it's updating my user profile, and everything was successful. So if I go back to my sign-on window, I should be able to sign on with my password. And there we are. Again, this one was a little more complicated to set up than the HR agent, but as you can see, it's not terribly complicated. So I would say that it probably took me a couple hours to put this together. Not a huge investment, but if you have a help desk that's being overloaded with requests for people that have locked themselves out of the system, or have just forgotten their password, this could be a huge time saver for our internal help desk. And AI is able to handle this pretty cleanly. And I think what you'll find is as you get into building AI agents, that AI will become the first question you ask when you are considering a feature request or a new project is, can AI do this for me? So this is one of those use cases where it's really simple to let AI just handle it and take that burden off of my help desk staff, so they can concentrate on things that are a little more demanding. All right, let's take a look at another use case. So we're kind of building, right? So we took a look at some document summarization, and now we've taken a look at an assistant. But what's really cool about Profound AI and what it does is that it can be integrated into your existing business applications. So we can build agents and give them capabilities and access to data, which we'll see in this one, and add huge business value, and then put that into our existing applications without changing the backend code, without having to write any code in lots of cases on the front end side, and we get all kinds of increased functionality and a lot of real business value, including things like data analytics. So we can, if we give the AI agent access to data, it can use that to actually give us insights. So let's take a look at what that might look like. So I have an agent here that is designed to help during customer service order entry interactions. You can see here in our guidance, we're assisting enterprise application user, providing insights and information on customer and order ID being inquired upon. The customer ID is, and you'll notice I've got this variable in my prompt. Order ID is, and again, another variable. So we're going to actually pull those from the screen and provide those as part of the prompt when this agent is actually activated. So we're giving it context, so it knows what screen we're on. It knows, what customer we're looking at on the screen, or what order for that customer that we're looking at. And you may be asked to give insights on the customer and all of its orders. So you know what order we're on, but you're not restricted to that one order, or all customers. So you know what customer we're looking at, but the user can ask questions about other customers. We have a bit here, always include the customer's company name, always refer to products by name. That's something that I stuck in there because sometimes the AI will just use a SKU number for a product, or maybe just the customer's customer ID within the system instead of their actual name when giving responses, which may be fine. But if I'm new to the company, I really don't know, that Save A, for example, is Save a Lot stores or whatever. So it gives a more user-friendly response. And then it's just some instructions, follow the context of the questions. This is interesting. The way this database is designed, there's actually not an order total on the order header. So we just, instead of programming, we just tell the AI how to get an order value. So we tell it can be calculated by summing up the order line extended value, which is unit price times quantity times 1 minus the discount. And then the order freight can be added to give an order grand total. So we didn't have to program it to, oh, you have to go get the detail records and do this math on them and add it all up and then add this. We just kind of described it, and the AI can use that. So that's our prompt. Now, in this prompt, we've given this agent access to a few things. So if we take a look, let's start with data access. So we can actually give this agent access to tables within our database. Honestly, within any database that we support. So it can be, your IBMI and DB2 data for that. You see here in my test environment, I've got some MySQL servers running out in AWS or in Aurora. I've got a Microsoft SQL server running in Azure. You can have an Oracle database, and whatever databases you have, you can actually give the agent access to any of them or none of them, entirely up to you. So once we have databases configured, we have to give an agent access to specific tables. So you can see here, I've actually said, okay, this agent can see my order table, my order detail table, my product table, but you'll also notice I have to give it permission to individual columns. So in this case, I've said, it can't see these last two columns. Categories, my shippers table, basic information about orders that I'd like the AI to be able to use. Now, another important point I'll bring up here is that I don't actually give the model direct access to these tables. So the way that works is that when a question is asked, or when the prompt is sent to the model, it actually gives it a description of the database and says, I want you to answer this question given a database that looks like this. So it describes the tables and the columns that are available. And then the model then comes back and says, will you please run this SQL statement for me? Which gives us kind of a buffer. So a lot of companies are worried about giving AI direct access to their data. understandably so. So this is read-only access for one, and also the Profound AI product is kind of a buffer in between. So the Profound AI product then looks at that SQL statement and parses it and makes sure that it's not violating what we've set up here in our data access. So prompt injection is a thing. It is possible to fool an AI into trying to do something that it shouldn't. Trying to access, if I were, someone with ill intent and I happen to know the database layout of the entire system, I could try to ask the AI, hey, go and access this data in this specific table. But because we have this mechanism in place, we actually parse that SQL statement and make sure that only these tables and only the columns that are specifically listed are accessed in any SQL statements that are requested. So if it passes that check, we go and we grab the data, we send the results back up to the model so that it can continue its analysis. So adding, a new table is really just a matter of hitting the add button, choosing which of the databases we want to grab information from, and what schema are we pulling it out of, and just choosing a table or view that we want to be included. Really straightforward. So that's the data access side of things. I also have some routines that I've given this particular agent access to do. You saw we had order tables and product tables and category tables all inside of here. We didn't have our customer table in there though. And that was intentional so that we can show another feature here, which is I have a routine to get customer phone and fax. But you can see I have a step here that's actually just calling an IBMI program to be able to retrieve that information. So I can, in this case, I'm calling an RPG program to get back the customer information. So it's going to give me back the company name and phone number and fax number. There are others here for retrieving a list of order dates. Here's one for getting the weather for a location. So if we have a REST service, if you have other applications that maybe aren't IBMI applications, and you want to be able to call something in some other system, if they have APIs, you can call them. So I have a step here to call a REST API. In this case, it's just retrieving weather, but that could be any API. And that, again, that makes that API available to this AI agent. So we've kind of combined things. So routines, data access, if I had knowledge documents I wanted to add to this agent, I could add those too. So we could have all of those different sources of information and functionality within one agent in order to give it a full picture of what's going on so that we can then ask questions and get a more complete answer. So with that, let's take a quick look at this running in an application. So I'm going to launch a browser tab. And here we'll pull up. I have just a really simple order entry type of screen. So we can take a look at customers here. And I love this particular demo because it's really fun, the things that we can do. So I'm going to take a look at a specific customer, Save a Lot Markets here. And you can see I have a list of, all of their orders. This is based on grocery data, so that's kind of how this will go in. So I'm going to go into one of the orders. Once I'm in, you'll see here at the bottom of my screen, I have this little icon. And that is how I will launch my agent. So here's my agent running inside this business application. So I can start asking it questions. I can ask very simple questions like, what is this customer's most purchased item? Maybe I just want to know. And asking that question, it knows what customer is on the screen right here. It's going to go out, retrieve the data for me, and just give me a simple answer to the question. So they order something called Kanbu, and they've ordered 248 units. But we can start to ask it more complex things. So to save some time, I'm not going to type everything. So I could ask it, for example, to graph this customer sales in 2023 by category. And it will actually go out and do that for me. I don't have to go out into a reporting or a BI tool in order to get that information. I can just ask my agent, build me a graph. And they'll go out and retrieve the data. As you can see, it shows you the steps as it's happening. So it accessed the data. Now it's calling the data analytics routines, and that's what actually builds things like charts or downloadable files or the different things that we can do within the AI. As for the time it takes to do this, there's a lot of variables. We're using ChatGPT or the GPT APIs, which is OpenAI, and it depends on how busy they are, as well as network connections and all kinds of things. But as you can see, it gave me a chart of exactly what I asked for. I can, this chart is an image, so I can just right-click it, save it, and drop it into something if I want to. But I can also ask for insights and recommendations for this customer. So for example, I could ask a question like, based on order history, what types of promotions will increase beverage sales to this customer? So that's not a simple data question, right? That is, hey, look at the data and make some recommendations for me. So that's going to use not only the data, but generative AI's knowledge that it's compiled during its training in order to give me meaningful information based on this particular customer. And as you can see, it's giving me a lot, a whole lot actually. So I think it's pretty clear that there's a whole lot of information that I can get from this to be able to come up with some new promotions. So determine which types of promotions. It's helpful to consider the following based on the order history. So it's telling me how it's making these decisions. So it wants to look at customers' favorite products and seasonal trends and bulk purchases. It's also talking about we might want to introduce things like loyalty programs. Then to get more concrete suggestions, look at the beverages previously ordered. Because I asked it for types of promotions to increase beverage sales for this customer. So saying, okay, well, these are the most popular beverages that they order. And then considering all that information, you might want to offer discount offers on their popular brands. You might want to bundle things. So create bundled offers that combine top selling beverages with other popular items or new introductions. Seasonal marketing campaigns. Exclusive preview and tasting events. Again, all kinds of ideas that it can throw out for me as a customer service rep on things I might want to try, or as a company, a marketing department, things I might want to try. We can even ask it something a little more specific. So it mentions seasonal marketing campaigns there. So I can ask it, again, this is conversational, so it knows what customer we're talking about, and it knows the things that it's said so far. So I could ask a question like, when would seasonal promotion on beverages be most effective for this customer? And again, it'll take a look at the trends of what was been ordered by this customer, and then it will give me some insights. It's calling data analytics, so I guess it's decided to show me a chart as well. It can decide to do that in its explanation. So there we go. Looking at beverage sales by month, it's kind of broken that out for me. And so it says beverage sales peak in April, another significant increase in October. Therefore, seasonal promotions on beverages would be most effective if they are timed around these 2 months. April might indicate a preference for beverage during the spring season. So it's even aware of the seasons of these months. So it's saying, okay, April might indicate a preference for beverages during the spring season, possibly in anticipation of warmer weather. October's increase could be related to seasonal changes as well, possibly associated with autumn beverages or preparations for the holiday season. Again, not just a simple query. I mean, it is querying the data, but it's also using all of the training information that generative AI has had to give you insights to that data and recommendations. And again, a lot of power. And even something that you may not even think is possible here is I can even say, all right, we've been talking about all this, but what I really want is I just want to get an Excel file with all the beverage orders so that I can play with these numbers myself. So create an Excel file listing all beverage orders for this customer for 2023. And it will go out and do that. The data analytics step is going to take a little longer because not only is it compiling the information, it's also has to build the Excel file and then make it available as a link so that I can download it. So it just takes a minute for it to actually go through and build that for me. But there you see it's actually done so. I can download my beverage orders 2023 file. So I can then come over and open that. And here we have it in Excel, and you can see here it's given me a list of the orders, what products, what the order dates were, the product name, quantity, unit price, discount. That's what it assumed I wanted because I wasn't specific. If I wanted more, I could absolutely tell it to create me an Excel file with these specific pieces of information, and it would build that out for me. Again, but I can get that without going to another tool, without involving IT. I can just hop in and grab that information. All right. Again, this is one of my favorite demos because there's just so much that's possible here. I could talk about this for an hour. But I hope that it gives you some insights on what's possible with, again, just a little bit of work in Profound AI and the power of a large language model running behind it. So now let's take a look at one more use case. And that is the ability to call these agents programmatically. So far, everything we've done, we've had a chat window, right, where we're talking to the agent and we're able to build out solutions that can answer questions. But what if we want to be able to do this in an automated fashion? Maybe we have a back-end process that we would like to, take a look at an order coming in and tell us if it's fraud, or anytime we'd like AI to give us insights into information, but we don't want to have to actually interactively talk with an agent in order to do that, we have the ability to call those agents programmatically. So in this case, what I have done is I have built an agent that can build product descriptions. So if I come back over to to my browser, and we'll just go ahead and kill this, switch back over, we can have a look at my category description agent. So the prompt on this one's a little different. We're assisting an enterprise application user, and we'll be passed the following parameters: a product ID, a short description, length, width, depth, colors, power options. You'll use the above parameters and any other resources to put together a longer description for a catalog listing. This is the fun part. Again, we can give it a persona. Your response should have that marketing vibe to it. Your response must be a minimum of 250 characters long, including spaces and punctuation, not longer than 300. Color values must be properly capitalized. For example, rose gold must be converted to capital R, capital G. Be mindful of trademarked words and capitalize them accordingly. Where possible and where there is room to do so, expand any abbreviations. Make sure to include the product ID at the end. Check and fix all spelling and grammar. And before sending back your response, check it one last time to ensure that it does not exceed the characters. The way that generative AI works, it's really just working a word at a time. So having that in there helped it to make sure that it didn't make a change later that pushed it beyond the total. And your response should be in JSON format, so looking like this. And that's it. There are no routines, no data. We've just asked generative AI to generate a description for us. What's really cool is that I have this agent, and then I have a module that wraps that agent within the low-code environment. So there is a plugin, there's a step that you can add in a low-code routine to ask an AI, to call an AI agent. And so we can choose that category description agent and put pass in the parameters that we need and get the response. You'll notice here that we have our list of input parameters and our output parameter defined here. So we can, now that this is in a routine, we could turn this into an API that can be called by anything. But we can also, since a lot of our customers are IBMI customers, we can also call it directly from an RPG program. And we'll even provide you with the RPG code to call this routine. So once we have that, now an RPG program can call an AI agent directly as a program call behind the scenes, not on the UI, but just a batch RPG program. So to demonstrate this, I actually have a session right here, and I have a green screen program. And this green screen program has just product information on it. You can see here, iPhone 13 SE is the short description. We have our dimensions, available colors. You can see capitalization is just wrong all around that. Power options. We have things that are abbreviated, things are misspelled, all kinds of nasty stuff. But I can press this F5 key and it will call that category description agent, and the AI will take in all this information and generate a catalog description for me. Introducing the iPhone 13 SE, sleek and compact device, measures that yada yada. Available in black, space silver, and rose gold. You can see the capitalization's right. It capitalized MagSafe because that is a copyrighted word. Did that correctly. It fixed the spelling errors, all of that stuff. Get yours today. And just to prove that it's not just a pre-built catalog description behind the scenes, I'll press it again, and I will get a slightly different description. So the AI is generating the description each time. Generative AI gives similar results, but they're not always going to be exactly the same. That's the whole nature of generative AI. Much like two different people might give you a slightly different answer to a question, generative AI is going to give you slightly different answers when it's asked to do something. So again, integrated AI to generate a catalog description within a green screen RPG application. So as you can imagine, a green screen application, while certainly possible, it might not be the best use case. However, think about things like your batch processes happening on your IBMI. You get in EDI transactions and you want the AI to analyze them before you actually import them into your system, or you're importing orders from your web store, and you want to check them for fraud before you actually send them through. You can have the AI take a look at all of that information and make a recommendation on whether or not this may or may not be fraudulent. There's lots of ways that you could use and create these agents and then programmatically use them to make your applications more resilient and more efficient. So that is our last demo for today, as we're coming up on the end of the hour. As I mentioned, Profound AI is in beta right now, and we are working with customers to get them started with the product and to get their feedback on features and any issues that they may have. If you'd like more information, you're welcome to contact me at bmay@profoundlogic.com. Or if you'd like more information or to sign up for beta access, you can do so at profoundlogic.com/AI. Thanks everyone for taking an hour out of your day to hear about what we're doing on the AI front here at Profound Logic, and I look forward to hearing from you.